Hey guys!
Welcome back to another episode of LifeScope.
Let's go.
I'm Jasmine.
And I'm Estefania. And today we have a very interesting episode for you guys. Today we're going to talk about Dia de los Muertos and Halloween, the history behind it, and also our experience. Because as some of you know, we used to both live in Mexico.
Mhm.
But as we were talking about it, we realized that our experiences were a lot different.
Yeah, very different.
Yeah. Like, I think we can start with the story.
We can.
The history, and then kind of like go into how our customs or traditions were.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we'll start by Halloween.
Yes, since we're here.
Since
and
we're here,
do
and,
Halloween here.
yeah, and that's the first holiday, I guess, that's coming up. So just an
Yeah.
interesting fact that we found out. I guess Halloween is the second holiday where people in the US spend the most money. The first one being Christmas.
Yeah.
And people spend up to $6 billion.
Because
in the
of
US.
candy, right?
Yeah,
And the
buying the
costumes.
candy, the costumes. That's
Mhm.
crazy.
It's a lot of money.
A lot of money. Just for like one day.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
And I'm wondering how this Halloween would look like, because of COVID and everything.
Yeah, I've already seen some videos that people are already trick-or-treating, but it's in their cars. Like they go
A drive-through.
houses. Yeah, drive-through, but trick-or-treating. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that's better. Anyway,
Mhm.
because so that way you can keep your kids in your car.
Mhm.
Because I know my brothers would always be running around.
Yeah.
And my dad would already take the truck. Because you know how some houses do it and some others skip it.
Mhm.
So that way, if you're doing it, I feel like it's a lot faster.
Mhm. And that's how we would do it as well. I remember at first, I was walking. But then afterwards, we started taking a car.
Yeah. I feel like that's
Yeah.
a good idea to kind of keep it. But at the same time, kids can't show off their costumes.
I know, because they're in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we didn't talk about this, but what have you dressed up as before? If you ever went?
My family never really celebrated Halloween. When we were little, we did, but I don't remember what I ever dressed up as.
No.
And then when we lived in Mexico, it wasn't celebrated because over there it's oh no, that's a U.S. celebration. For us, it's Dia de los Muertos.
Yeah.
And but I want to say here when I came back one time, I was it was weird because I had to find a last minute costume, and I was a zombie zebra.
Zombie zebra.
I just did my face and put some zebra earrings
okay.
or the little ears.
The ears.
And I was okay, this will do. And then another day I did my face kind of the Joker.
Oh, okay.
And then another time kind of I tried to make it like a Katrina. Like a skeleton type of
okay.
a type, but I
Nice.
don't think it came out the best. What about you?
Yeah, for me, I remember even as a kid, 5 years old, we would always dress up and go. I was once una gitana. How do you say that in English? It was
a gypsy.
Yeah, something like that.
Gypsy.
And with my stomach all showy. I remember the next year or 2 years after that, my sister wore it, just the costume's already there. So
yeah,
she used it, but she used it with an undershirt.
She didn't want to show it.
No, she didn't. But she was still young. I think she was also 4 or 5. But she used it with an undershirt.
That's funny.
Yeah, and I've also been a witch. And I remember I always had short hair. And when I decided to be a witch, I used a wig. So I felt weird, it was long hair, and because I always had short hair. So yeah.
That's really crazy. I think the same thing with my sisters. We would always kind of trade costumes. Yeah.
Yeah, and even I think she was Batman one time, but she was really small, and I'm why Batman? And then my brother used it.
Then your brother.
Yeah.
That's funny. My brother, I think he was Batman one year, and then he passed it down to my other brother, and now he was Batman. And now it's my other brother. Is Batman.
Yeah. To talk about some history, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we were looking at it originally, it originated from the ancient Celtic. Is that what it's called? It was Celtic.
I think.
Celtic. Yeah. Festival of Samhain, when people would light bonfires and wear costumes to ward off the ghosts.
Yeah. So I guess before they on October 31st, that's kind of where the line between the living and the dead
Yeah.
was the closest.
Mhm.
And so they wanted to scare them away. So they would put food and like drinks outside their house to get them away from their house. And I guess if the
Yeah.
people would go out, they would put on masks to get
Mm-hmm.
confused with like other
With
ghosts.
other ghosts. Yeah.
And I guess that's where like the costume originates.
Mm-hmm.
But it was really to get confused from other ghosts and not be taken, or I don't really know like what the belief was there,
Yeah.
but it was like to keep them away from them. And I guess going off of that, the trick or treating happened a little bit after.
Afterwards, yeah.
I think it was the Irish and Scottish that came.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Irish and Scottish, and I guess they brought in these costumes that they have. And at the trick or treating, at first, when it started, it was a little pranks that kids would pull like on their neighbors. Like they
Yeah,
would take
like
away
vandalism.
like
There was a lot of
vandalism.
vandalism.
They would take away like the gates from their. It started off like very like pranks.
Yeah.
Like they would take away like the little gate. They would take away other stuff, and I guess it continued, and it's actually turned into vandalism.
Mm-hmm.
So it started to get pretty bad. So people were starting to, I guess, whenever they came to the house and were like trick or treat, kind of like give me candy or give me something.
Yeah.
If not, I'm gonna vandalize your house. So that's when it started to become very common to actually give like candy and stuff to the kids,
Mhm.
so that they would just keep going on and moving on to houses to get the candy versus vandalizing the
Yeah.
houses.
And at first, it wasn't only candy. It could be food, money, even wine.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was anything.
Yeah, it was anything.
Mm.
Oh, am I wearing the same shirt that I wore last time?
No, you were wearing a skeleton one.
Oh yeah. I was like looking at myself and I'm like, it looks pretty similar.
It's just because it's black.
Because it's black.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a different one though. Oh.
Yeah, the other one had like a skeleton.
The skeleton.
Yeah.
Okay, I was like thinking about it. I was like, oh my god, am I wearing the same shirt?
No. It's just black.
Just black.
Yeah.
All right.
But what else? Oh, it was also known as Hallows Eve. That's how it was known as first. And then that's when they shortened it to Halloween.
Yeah. And I guess Hallow was the meaning for heavenly or
Heavenly, something like that.
something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And like when it started to emerge here in America, like it started with play parties, which was like public events held to celebrate the harvest.
Mhm.
So yeah, I feel like it first started as a big celebration with communities, which now it's mostly you celebrate on your own, like home parties,
Mhm.
and trick or treating is what is like more community.
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah, trick or treating is a more community, but it's interesting to see how it's gonna be shifting now.
Yeah.
You know, because
Now with the pandemic
and everything. Yeah, I feel like this is gonna change the traditions a little bit more.
Yeah, like because there won't be trick or treating. And last night we saw this movie. I can't remember the name of it, but Adam Sandler's in it. It's on Netflix. I don't know if you guys have seen it's about Halloween. And it's just fun to see how I liked to see how they're all trick-or-treating. And I'm like, that's not gonna happen this year. And even last year, like where around my neighborhood or my grandparents' neighborhood, there weren't many houses that were giving out candy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Even around my house, like there wasn't a lot of people giving out candy. And I will say, like, my family doesn't really give out candy because we always like take my siblings.
Yeah, us too. We never gave out candy.
Which I guess maybe we should.
I know, yeah.
To kind of like bring back that spirit.
Maybe not this year.
Yeah, not this year. Until next year.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Did you have anything else to add up to like the Halloween or
the Halloween? I think it was. I have it all right here. So, one of them was young women believed that Halloween they could divine the name or appearance of their future husband, like by doing tricks with yarn or apple parings or mirrors.
Yeah, that's very crazy.
That's really weird. Yeah. Yeah. I found that weird.
I actually didn't know about the apple pairing.
The apple pairings, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know about that until we started looking it up. So that's good. Good to know.
That's good. And I think that was it for the parties. Yeah, like we said, it was mostly vandalism at first. That's why they started doing it on their own. So then it kind of stopped.
Have you ever seen those pictures where it's like the old Halloween costumes that people wore or masks? They look creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if you guys Google it, they look creepy. Like, I don't know, let's say like put Halloween costumes for like even like 50 years ago. They look creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah. They look like, I don't know, some of them look like really
Real.
real. Like, I guess real scary.
Yeah, there's some people who really go out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's good because I remember one year I didn't even try. Like my costume, I was just wearing black and this beanie that had red hair on it, and I just painted my face. I think it was red or black. I think it was red, like to seem like it was blood or something, but it was not creative.
Ooh, you know what we should do next episode? Should we dress up as Catrinas? If you don't know what that is like
the skeleton,
the skeletons for Dia de los Muertos, like when they do like the face paint and they do like colorful either flowers, kind of like what Frida has around her head. But also like in their face, they paint like the skeleton face. Should we do that? What do you guys think?
We should do that. That would be fun.
Yeah, we should do that.
Yeah, since next week it's Halloween already, right?
Yeah, next weekend is Halloween.
Next weekend.
Yeah. So I'm down.
We
have to get up early.
We do.
To do it.
We always wake up late.
I know. It's our only day to kind of like relax a little bit more. Because I feel like Saturday we're like cleaning or going out, whatever we're doing. So Sunday is like, gotta get up, do the podcast.
Yeah.
So we try to do it a little bit later so we still have some time
to sleep in.
Yeah, because Monday through Friday we wake up pretty early. Well, you wake up earlier than I do.
I wake up at 6.
That's
all right. Yeah,
same. 6:30.
Sometimes at 6:30 when I'm like, I don't want to get ready. I just wake up at 6:30.
Let's say okay. Okay, cool. So next weekend we're gonna come with our faces made.
Yep. And I'm not like a huge artist. Like I'm not good at drawing, so don't expect something.
Yeah, don't think it's gonna be like all cool. Same, I'm not a good artist, so we'll try our best.
Yeah. And for those who are listening, like make sure to watch us so you can see it.
Yes, we should make a little tutorial.
Oh yeah.
Whether if it comes out good, great, and if not, you can see how we make a fool of ourselves.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah. We need to go buy the stuff. All right. So now we're gonna talk about Dia de los Muertos. So this tradition originally comes from the Aztecs and Toltecs, Aztecas y Toltecas. Yeah. So originally it was, so when people passed, they go through the land of the death, which has like 9 levels that they had to get through. And originally it was called Chikunamictlan, I think. Chikunamictlan.
Sounds right.
And so there was different levels to it, and they have to get to the Mictlan. The Mictlan was the final resting place, where they would live their afterlife, I guess you could say. And so on November 2nd, November 1st is Dia de los Inocentes, which is the day of younger souls.
You honor the kids who passed away.
You honor the kids that passed away. And then November 2nd, it's Dia de los Muertos, and in that day you honor the adults. You honor the adults. And so on November 2nd, the adult or even the younger souls come back from the Mictlan. Mictlan, remember, was that resting place. So they come back.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of things that kind of like go into it. What history did you find out?
History, what was it?
So we can kind of like compare.
What was it most like history was what kind of we do now as well, which is family members often clean the graves and they decorate them.
Okay.
So it was things like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess then kind of like going off of that, there's a bunch of things that traditions that people have, and it was a lot of it was influenced. We have pan de muerto, which is bread of the death.
Yeah,
I guess you could say
that, yeah.
So now originally it was made by the Aztecs and Toltecs, and it had actual blood and it had bones simulating a cross. And that was an ofrenda, an offering that they would give to their gods or to the dead people. And because of the Spaniards came and colonized, it was actually transitioned into their version of the pan de muertos bread, because they also had their own version, but theirs was
Actual bread.
actual bread. So it was a mixture of ingredients, and so it became to be now what it is, the pan de muertos, which I love. It is really good.
It's really
It's
good.
really good.
Yeah.
Um, so that's like a little background history on that. And also too, there's nowadays there's no like specific way to celebrate it, because as we were talking, and even from our own experience,
Yeah.
different
It's really
places of
different.
Mexico celebrate it in different ways. Like we were reading, and there's different types of altars. I knew that there was a 3-level altar and like a 7-level altar,
Yeah.
but there's also like a 1-level altar. Those are commonly used when you go to the cemetery, because you can only it's flat, so you can only put like the stuff on top of the grave.
Yeah.
And the 3-level altar typically represents heaven, which is cielo, earth, tierra, and then the last one is hell, or infierno. And the 7 altar can mean different things, because the way that I remember it was like a lot different. I remember we would put the picture at the top,
Yeah.
of the whoever you're dedicating the altar to. But I guess like in other places we were reading, it's like an image of whoever
you're honoring, right?
No, so actually it was like the first level, it was like at the very high, it was like whoever you were devoting it to. So some people would put a cross, or some people would put pictures of saints, which that's not how I remembered it. But again, like it changes.
People do different things.
Yeah, even I want to say from like a town to another town, it could be different.
Yeah.
And then on the second, it was like the purgatory, like they had permission to come back from purgatory, something like that. And then the third one, they put salt in. The salt meant to purify the spirit, and the body doesn't go bad, like it doesn't get lost.
Okay.
So
like
they can
roaming
find
around.
Yeah,
right?
roaming around, so they can find their way back.
Yeah.
And then the fourth has a pan de muerto, which, as we explained what it was, and that is food to their soul.
And that's what we found weird, right? Like us in Dia de los Muertos, we put food, but for them to come. And then for like Halloween, it was they put food, but for them to go away, to like not disturb.
Yeah, which is so crazy, because thinking about it, they both go back to like that European descent. And they kind of have like the same origin. But like Jasmine was saying, in the US, it was to keep them away.
Yeah.
And us in Mexico, we celebrate the death. We want them to come back and visit us. And I remember watching a video kind of like saying how like we, instead of being scared of death, we like it. We make fun of the death. And I think personally that's a great way to live, because we all know that we're gonna die.
Yeah.
Whether we want to accept it or not. And sometimes we look at it so like distant. We're like, we're gonna die, but
so far away.
Yeah. But no, sometimes life surprises you, and
yeah,
it can happen in seconds. So I think a lot of it in my culture, and what I appreciate, is like knowing that it can happen at any moment. So in some way you kind of enjoy life a little bit more, and celebrating it, and not forgetting just about how much we take life for granted.
And then there, what we were reading, there was a part where it said like it's like another chapter of our lives, so it's still part of our lives.
Yeah, so that's like another belief. It's not the end of your life, it's just another chapter. Yeah, it's just another chapter.
Yeah.
So kind of going back to like the levels, the level 5, it had the person that you were dedicating the altar to, their favorite food, their favorite drinks and stuff that they wanted to. Sometimes people would put like cigarettes and stuff too, like whatever they liked. And then in this number 6, level 6, people would put the picture, but again, like it just depends on where you're from and how you put it in.
Yeah.
And then in the level 7, they would put seeds, fruit, in a form of a cross.
Yeah.
And that was to liberate their sins, so that they were able to get back to their loved ones.
Yeah.
They were, and you know, in these altars, they all have like a different stuff that you can put, and they all have like meaning to it, like flores de cempasúchil,
Yeah.
which I wrote it down because I didn't know what they were called, and they're called bright margolds.
Margolds.
Margolds. Yeah, sorry, I
Yeah.
don't know how to say that.
Yeah. I'm
um,
struggling.
but they're orange, really bright and orange, and they guide the souls back into earth or back with the living.
Yeah.
And that's why when if you have ever seen an altar, if you look it up, that's why there's all those cempasúchil as a pathway to the altar, because it brings them and it guides them back. And there's water because that's the fountain of life. Candles that help also guide them back and bring the light to them to get back home. And also one of the things that we found too was a papel picado. So I
Okay.
don't know if you guys ever seen it, but papel picado is super bright. It's colorful,
It's
and
like
they
thin paper.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they hanging at the tops. And we found different colors
With different meanings.
with different meanings. Yeah. So I'll say a couple, and then you
Go
can say
ahead.
the
Yeah.
other ones. So orange means grief, and the purple means their religion. Also, blue, which I thought was very interesting, it kind of honors people that died in a way related to water.
To water, yeah.
Which I thought was very interesting. And then the red signifies or honors warriors or women that died while giving birth.
Yeah, and for green, they're honoring the young. It could be like teenagers as well, like young people, young adults. The white, that's for children, and yellow, it's for the elderly, and they even use black, and that's for the underworld.
Which I thought was very interesting.
Yeah.
Usually you don't see a lot
You
of
don't
black.
see black. Yeah, it's like really colorful, vibrant colors.
Yeah, really colorful, vibrant colors. But I guess the black is for the underworld. Yeah, and then so being in Mexico, how was your experience like? How would you guys celebrate Dia de los Muertos?
For mine, it was pretty different. Like on October 31st, we would celebrate the kids. We would honor the kids who had died. So they would make ofrendas for the kids. And then on November 1st, that was for the adults. That's when they would make ofrendas for the adults. And then the next day, October 2nd, that's when we would go to the cemetery and we would leave flowers. And that same day, they would make un baile, which is like a party at night. So we can go all dance, and it was mostly like just to dance, have fun, drink, and there would be like food stands as well. If you get hungry, you go eat.
Okay.
So it was like that. Yeah. Oh, and as well, when they made sus ofrendas, which are the altars, we would walk around in el pueblo, in the little town, and we would see them. It was mostly the ones who had died that year. That's when they made them like really big, and they would make them stand out, and that's why people would go and see them.
Yeah, our experiences, I feel like, were a lot different. Maybe because you were like in a town. And then for me, like I was telling you, we didn't have someone that passed away like super close to us until like recently. And so when we were young, we would make altars, but it was like of people that we wanted to like offer it to. Like it could be anybody,
Yeah.
like it doesn't even have to be your family. And I remember I would pick like, I don't know, like Frida or
like famous people, right?
Yeah. And then sometimes they would in school, they like, for me, they had competitions. And so because in Mexico the way it works is like you don't have classes with different people up until you get to like high school.
Yeah, you're with the same people.
Yeah.
That's how it was.
So meanwhile you're with the same people. And we would each group was in charge of making an altar. So we would all kind of like take turns and be like, okay, you're gonna bring flores de cempasúchil, or you're gonna bring the salt, you're gonna bring the water.
Something.
Yeah, everyone brought something, and we would make big altars, and each group had a section in the school where they could build their own altar.
Okay.
And so we would all bring in the stuff and make a big altar, and we just had like a competition, and we would all like dressed up as Catrinas or Catrinas too. Okay. And those are like the schools. So calaveras is schools, and then calacas is skeletons. So we would all like dressed up as, like we were explaining a little bit earlier, when people like had the flowers up in their hair and did their face like black and white,
like
a
a
skeleton.
skeleton.
Those are what Catrinas are. So we would dress up like that and we would have competitions. I remember one year I dressed up as one for like my group, and I had like a really big blue dress, and then my face was done. There's a picture somewhere. And then I think one of my friends ended up doing the makeup for me, and there's a picture somewhere of that.
Okay. I feel like because your school might have been bigger than mine. Mine is un pueblo. It was really small. Like the max of students that was in a class was like 15. Like there was a little bit of people. That's why. Maybe that's why there wasn't like competition like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's what it had to do with the difference of like the students and everything.
Yeah, and the celebration.
Yeah.
And like las ofrendas, like I was saying, they were decorated. They were differently, like saying things that the ones they were honoring, whatever they liked. And I even remember they had toys on the floor, as in there was a little train running around, like, and different things. One of them was full of flowers. Like another one could be full of, what was that paper called that you said, the really thin paper of the different colors? Yeah, that one they had, but it was white, like the whole wall in the back. It was all white.
It was all white.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember they would make like flowers out of that too.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, they would make flowers out of that. So there's no like specific way
of decorating
it. At the end of the day, it's like up to you. But I want to say like the most common thing that I saw. Oh, we would also put like a bucket of water so they can come and wash their hands or wash their face or bathe.
Yeah.
To kind of like cleanse out, I guess, the bad.
Yeah.
And yeah, there was always candles to light their way. There was always flores de cempasúchil because that was like flowers for guidance. For sure. Yeah. They also use some pink ones.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, some pink ones that are very, very, I guess they just bring more light to it. Okay. I don't think there's meaning for that one because when we were doing research,
just makes it more vibrant, I guess.
Yeah, more vibrant. But typically, I want to say like the colors that we saw the most were like orange, pink, green, like those really bright colors that catch your attention.
Yeah.
And yeah, we would always celebrate it in that way, like competition. Like I said, my family didn't really have anything, and I want to say like in the community, since it's a lot more city like, it's just kind of hard to bring out like all the community.
Yeah.
But the way that people would do it, they would just go and like visit their loved ones to the cemetery. I know my grandma would go, not just in that day, but she would go every now and then to go and take flowers to her parents, and we would just go and like spend the day there for a little bit, like the whole family, just to go and kind of say hi to our loved ones. But like I said, it wasn't just that time of the year. We would go.
Yeah, I feel like over there was the same, where you go whenever you want, but that day, that's when the cemetery got full because everybody went.
Yeah, I want to say it did get full. Like it did get full. And some people stick more to the tradition, like in the way that they all bring like the food and they actually spend the day there.
Okay. Yeah, there would be like food stands as well. Like people don't take food, but you can buy food there.
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, I'm trying to think of like anything else that we did.
That you did. But for us, there was even like not only one day did they have un baile, like a party. It could be 2 days as well.
That's crazy. That's the one thing that we didn't do. We didn't have baile.
No.
Maybe because like I said, it was a bigger
city. So yeah, for us it was small and like just everyone was able to come.
Yeah. There's actually like a festival that now happens. I think it was because of one movie.
Yeah.
I think it was like a James Bond movie or something.
Okay.
But that festival actually didn't exist. But because they wanted to record that movie and having like that like exit, I have to look up the movie. But because of that movie and all the millions that were invested to come up with that festival, now there's a festival that happens every year with like the big Catrinas and skeletons.
In Mexico?
Yeah, so now it's actually a thing. But before then, it wasn't.
Yeah.
And it was because of that movie and like all the money that they invested.
And I feel like they do parades here too. Although I haven't seen any, and I know like here in Phoenix they don't do that.
Here,
but
no.
Maybe in other places that we haven't noticed.
I know it's really big like in LA.
Oh,
okay. Like California in general.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, we hope that this episode was very interesting for you guys and we taught some history. Be proud of your culture, who you are. I know we are.
Yes, we are.
We are. So follow us on Spotify, Apple, Instagram,
everywhere.
at LifeScope7.
Hey. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.